This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. You chose to hit play on this podcast today. Smart choice. Progressive loves to help people make smart choices. That's why they offer a tool called Auto Quote Explorer that allows you to compare your Progressive car insurance quote with rates from other companies. So you save time on the research and can enjoy savings when you choose the best rate for you. Give it a try after this episode at progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Motherhood. 1 minute, you're mom of the year.
I love you, Mommy.
Then the next, not so much. From bath time to bullying, from potty training to puberty, parenting is full of challenges. But one thing is for certain, you are not alone. Welcome to Modern Mom Probs. I'm your host, author, mother, parenting expert, Tara Clark. Join me while we tackle today's modern mom problems. If there's one thing that you know about me is that I am absolutely obsessed with the brand Cozy Earth. I wear their joggers during the day, almost every single day. And then at night, I sleep in their matching pajamas. I always wear the full pants with the long sleeve. It makes me feel very fancy and it keeps me cool at night. I sleep on Cozy Earth sheets with a Cozy Earth duvet cover. Like if there was a person that was a walking billboard for Cozy Earth, it would be me. It's actually a running joke between me and my husband because it's literally the only brand, not only that I wear during the day, but I wear at night and I sleep in at night. And the reason why is not only because it feels luxurious, but because it keeps me cool at night when I sleep. Because sometimes, ladies of a certain age may happen to be prone to night sweats. But the sheets are so soft and they're so snuggly that I get a great night's sleep every night between my sheets and the duvet cover, and it wraps me up and I just feel like I'm in this absolute beautiful cocoon of just cuddliness and perfect sleep. It's so soft. It feels so luxurious. I can't even begin to tell you how much I enjoy the Cozy Earth products. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because right now, Cozy Earth is running a special deal that if you use my code MMP, you can get 40% off their best-selling sheets, pajamas, and more. Trust me, you will not regret it. I am the walking billboard for Cozy Earth. And if I could impart one thing for you, you could afford it and you're worth it. Use my code MMP for 40% off. Welcome back to another episode of Modern Mom Probs. I am your girl, Tara Clark. Thank you for coming on this podcast journey with me. Today, we're going to be talking about body image issues. Now that summer is approaching, this tends to be more top of mind for a lot of people. And I am joined by my very special friend, Dr. Rachel Goldman. Dr. Rachel, you may know her as Dr. Rachel NYC on Instagram. She is a clinical psychologist, a speaker, and a consultant based in New York City. She has been on The Oprah Show 3 times. Yes, she sat across from Oprah Winfrey. My mind is blown. We're going to be talking about body image issues, how the mirror can lie, how can we come to terms with our body and how we feel about it and all of those things. I also want to mention that she has a new book coming out in spring of 2026. It's called Life Happens. I cannot wait to get my hands on it because everything that Dr. Rachel puts out, whether it's in person or online, I am hanging on her every word. We've recently finished up with the Reset retreat that I hosted in April. And she was our keynote speaker speaking about body image issues and how the mirror lies. And we work so well together. And I'm so excited for this conversation. Dr. Rachel, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you. Finally.
I'm so
Yes.
excited. So we just got off of doing our in-person retreat, our wellness retreat, a few weeks ago now. Now, by the time this airs, it'll be several weeks ago. But we had this conversation in person as a fireside chat, and I wanted to bring it to our podcast listeners because I thought there was so much magic in our conversation that I wanted it to go to a broader audience to be able to share it with more people. And so here we are today doing just that.
Yes, I love that. And I always love that we're able to have these conversations both in person and on something like a podcast, because it's just so great to be able to bring this to others. So thank you again for having me and wanting to continue this discussion.
Yeah, absolutely. It's so important to have these conversations because body image issues has been on the table for like a very long time. I'm not saying that this is like a new thing, only since social media have people started talking about this. I mean, years and years and years. And my mom and I often speak about the 70s because the 70s were a very real time for body image issues.
Yes.
And many times, like in your work, you talk about the mirror lies. And what does that mean? Can you break that down a little bit for me?
I can. And I pulled something that was right next to me because I wanted to quote something in a bit that I just was looking up. But yes, so when we say that the mirror lies, what we really mean is that the image that our brain creates for us, which then is the mirror, right? Like what we see is what's really lying. And I apologize. I live in New York City, so you probably hear lots and lots of background noise right now.
It's fine.
But so our brain often is actually lying to us. And it's not really, it's not our thought. It's just our brain is not really caught up to modern day society. Our brain is wired for survival. It is wired for the days that we were like hunters or gatherers in the woods trying to fight to survive. So our brain likes to keep us safe. It likes to give us kind of these negative thoughts at times to just make sure that we're prepared, to make sure that we are safe, to kind of tell us, nope, that's not safe. Let's avoid that. Let's stay exactly where we are, maybe in a stuck place. So because of that, our eyes then give us an image. And I like to use this example of, for how long have you seen a certain image, right? Or have you been in a certain shape or size of your body? And for many people will be like, oh, years, right? Or maybe they just had like drastic weight loss or something like that. And this is why we often hear people say, well, I still look like or feel like I'm in that larger body or smaller body, depending on where you are in your life. And that's because, again, the image that your brain is showing you is this image that is stamped. Like imagine a stamper stamping an image that you've been seeing over and over and over and over again. And now all of a sudden, it's not just going to change overnight. It's used to seeing what it's used to seeing. So, but the reason I like to say that it lies is for all of those reasons. And because what we all tend to do, like imagine taking a photo right now, like you and I. What is the first thing that you're going to do when we take that photo?
Probably zoom in, right?
Exactly. But probably zoom in on you, right? Not on me. No. We all zoom in on ourselves and we miss the big picture. But what we're doing is we're zooming in and then we're like, what's wrong with me? Again, our brain wants to jump to the negative. Something must be wrong. Let me look for what's wrong, to give my brain that evidence to say, yep, you were right. This is the way it is. I'm wrong. You're whatever it is. So I like to say, instead of zooming in, let's for a moment zoom out. Let's look at the whole picture. Let's think about the memory of you and I right now sitting and having this conversation. That is way more fun than zooming in on one little piece of our body, right? Which is what we all tend to do. So, the mirror lies because we're giving it kind of what our brain expects or what our brain wants. Now, that gets really tricky and it's complicated, but it doesn't need to be that way. It takes work, and I do acknowledge that. It takes work, but we can shift the narrative. We can shift the perspective. We can shift the way that we see ourselves. And it takes time and work, but it is possible.
Yeah. Do you think that we get stuck in these sort of like pathways in our brain where it's sort of like easier to default into that way of thinking?
Absolutely. Yeah. It is so much easier to just listen to what our brain tells us and just go with it, right? But the problem with that is that our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are all linked. So if we think, say, a negative thought about our body, we're going to probably feel pretty icky and not feel so good. And then that's going to change our actions or our behaviors. So as much as it's easier to just go with whatever we're hearing, it actually makes us feel worse. And that's where then like negative body image or negative perception of ourselves can actually lead to either symptoms of or lead to things like depression, anxiety, feeling isolated, low self-esteem, and even eating disorders.
Yeah, just on Saturday night, I saw Dr. Gabor Mate in live on stage in the city, and he was fantastic. And he was saying a a lot of things, but one thing that really stuck with me is that the body keeps score, right?
Absolutely.
These negative thoughts that we have over the course of time, over the course of our lives, get, for lack of a better term and lack of a scientific term here, our body remembers that, right? And then that could turn to illness. It could turn to, obviously, like you said, depression, anxiety, all of those things, but even more serious illnesses like, cancer, heart disease, lupus, all of that, MS.
Yeah, it's true. Our body, does keep score, and it's like just like a punching bag, right? Like we just keep throwing these like negative images, negative thoughts, negative feelings at our body. And if we don't do something about it, it can lead to all of those things because it influences everything, right? Our body image actually impacts our mental health. Our mental health is health, right? And then it also causes more stress. Stress on our body can lead to or exacerbate a lot of chronic illnesses. And that's why it is all related. Things that we do on most days impact how we feel, and how we feel impacts what we do. How we do impacts our thoughts. It becomes kind of this vicious cycle. And that's why it's so important. And the first step is that we acknowledge, right? Because we can't change anything unless we know something's not working for us. I don't like to think of it really as a problem, but just it's not working for us. It's not helping us. It could be damaging us. It could be harmful to us. But we can't change it if we don't first step back and acknowledge. So first, like what I always recommend is that we just take a moment and think for a moment of like things we're telling ourselves, right? Let's be mindful of the words we're using when we speak to ourselves. Let's be mindful of our body image narrative, right? What are we saying about ourselves and our body? If it's helping you in whatever way, positive, negative, neutral, doesn't matter. If it's helpful, go for it. Like if something works for you, don't change it. But if it's not working for you, and the question is, how do I know if it's working for me? If it doesn't feel good, right? If it's not feeling good, it is not working for you, then we can work on it. We can change it. We can tweak it. I think tweak is like a much more realistic, more subtle kind of way to think about it, because we're not going to change all these things. And I think also acknowledging that most things in life are not so all or nothing. Most things fluctuate, right? I like to think of it as on a spectrum or on a continuum. Mental health is too. We all have mental health. Body image, we all have body image. Some days it's better than other days. Some days it's not as good. And that's okay. Different times of our life, it's going to fluctuate based off of internal and external factors. And that's okay. But how do we think about ourselves and our bodies on most days matters.
Yeah. Why or how does it fluctuate from day to day when our body hasn't necessarily changed?
Yeah. So we might feel like our body hasn't necessarily changed, but based off of so many different factors, our body feels different. So for instance, at least for today, the day that we're speaking, it is raining outside, right? Mm-hmm. The rain sometimes causes people to feel different, right? Like you've probably heard like, oh, it's raining. Some people have more aches and pains. Maybe there's more water retention. So like my body probably hasn't changed from yesterday. Well, it's the same body for sure, but I'm going to feel differently. Maybe even based off of what I ate last night, right? Maybe based off of if I slept well or not, did my body get enough rest? Did I drink enough water? So many things impact how our body functions. So even if our body isn't necessarily changing on the outside, things inside are happening differently. We might wake up feeling more bloated, right? We all know that feeling bloated doesn't feel good. We might have a less than good body image day on that day. So this is exactly why it's so difficult. And this is why body image impacts so much, because we don't always feel wonderful in our bodies. And I actually think it's pretty unrealistic to think that we should always feel wonderful in our bodies for all of those reasons that are completely out of our control, or at least some of them are completely out of our control.
Yeah. Yeah. What about, wait, before I even ask a question, that often happens to me when I eat too much sodium. Like I just feel gross.
Oh my gosh. Same.
Right? Like my body just feels gross. Like it looks different. It feels gross. It feels heavier. And then I always think to myself, like, why? Why did I eat such a salty dish? Or sometimes if you go out to a restaurant, we went to this great Italian place the other day and I got this rigatoni, which I was so excited to eat. And it was so salty. Yeah. And then like I was trying to like work through it and I was like, this is just too salty. And then I felt like garbage for the rest of the day, most of yesterday, and sometimes you just can't help that.
Yeah. And what I would say, I often have clients that share this or similar stories. And a lot of my clients, although I don't encourage it, a lot of my clients weigh themselves and they'll share their weight with me. And oftentimes they'll then say, oh, but I went out to dinner and had blah, blah, blah last night. And my then response is, so your weight is salt. Let's just call it salt, right? And I think it's really important that we identify that, because if we don't, for many of us, we're like, what's wrong with me, right? Why do I feel this way? What did I do wrong? Where did I fail? I'm a failure. And none of that is true. It is literally salt. That's it. Salt is the cause.
It's salt.
Or in that situation. Like, I hate to say that. Like,
no,
I'm not
but you're
blaming.
right, though.
Yeah. I just jokingly, I'm not like blaming salt, but I am blaming salt. But it's important to label that. Because, or even like, oh, I didn't drink enough water yesterday. Oh, this is a lack of sleep. Oh, this is, my child had a tantrum yesterday. All of those things, I think if we label it and put some kind of association, because that's another thing. Our brain likes answers. Our brain wants to know what is going on right now. Our brain doesn't like uncertainty. Our brain doesn't like, I don't really know. It wants an answer. So if we can give it an answer, we can also move on. Right? Like it's salt, over and done with. Let's move on with our day. As opposed to, oh, why do I feel so bad? What did I do? I feel guilty. No, like it's salt. Let's move on. What can I do about it right now? What's in my control right now? Because we can't say, which we can, people do this, but it's not helpful to say, oh, I should have, could have, would have, done whatever. It's the past. It's over and done with. What can I do about it now? Maybe I move my body. Maybe I drink water. Maybe I do something that brings me joy. I do something that makes me feel good right now. So going back to this idea of focusing on what's in our control right now. The future is not in our control. The past is not in our control. Right here, right now, that is all that we can do. That's all that's in our control right now.
Yeah, it's so important. When I put on my jeans after I have a really salty meal, I'm like, oh, come on. But then I'm like, you know what? Now I need to drink more water. It's salt. That's the thing.
Now you
That's
just call it salt.
Away.
You know what? I'm taking the jeans off. Salt. That's it. Done.
That's it. Salt. Next time I'm going to be more mindful. But it happens often.
To all of us. It happens to all of us.
Good. I'm glad. Yes. That makes me feel better. It definitely does. I want to talk about the concept of toxic positivity and body positivity and all of that, because we hear so much of it on social media and online in general. So what's your take on the concept of we should love our bodies every single day, no matter what they look like, rain or shine, all of that?
Yeah. And to back up for just a moment, since you mentioned toxic positivity, I was just going to make it related to what you just said also, to your example. So if we wanted to be toxic with, super positive right now, I would say to you in that example, like, well, at least your jeans still fit, right? That would be toxic positivity.
Right.
Like, let's just ignore the feeling that you don't feel so great, but your jeans still fit. Yay. that's not so helpful, right? It wouldn't feel
Right.
good. Like if we were in the moment and you tried on jeans and you're like, oh, I feel so bloated from the salt. I ate this food last night. It's not helpful to be like, but they still fit. So, and that's toxic positivity. It's ignoring the fact that we're human and we have a wide range of emotions. And just ignoring those emotions is not helpful. So it's okay to acknowledge, you know what, these don't feel so great today, and I'm going to take them off. That's it. No big deal. That's not being toxically positive, though. And how that is related to body positivity is the same idea. Toxic positivity is like we should be happy all the time. Everything's fine. We can always see the silver lining. So in the sense of body positivity, it would be, well, you should just love your body anyways. Like it's your body. We should love it. We should feel great in it. We don't need to do anything differently. Again, not super helpful because it's not very realistic. I'm an expert in this area and I don't wake up every day loving my body. It's a fact. Like it's not normal. It's not realistic. It's not common, right? And look, if you do, amazing. Keep doing what you're doing, right? But I think it's unrealistic to think that we should wake up every morning loving every inch of our body. And why? Because of all the examples we gave before, right? The weather, the stress, the children, the life, the everything impacts our bodies and how we feel in our bodies. So instead, I like to think of things as more in a body neutrality place, which is accepting our bodies for where they are right now and acknowledging that it is more than just our appearance. So getting away from this focus on appearance and rather on the functions that our body does, the capabilities, the abilities that we have. So an example would be, I'm grateful for my body, or I love my body because I have legs that allow me to walk my child to and from school. I love my arms for being able to hug my children or to wave at you right now, right? Things like that. So it's moving away from appearance focused, which our world and our society has been on for several years, right? Like the diet culture, diet mentality, but it's really not all about that. So I think if we can move towards more of a body neutrality place, we can actually move towards body acceptance, right? It's about, this is my body right now, and I can love it. I can not love it so much. I can want to tweak it a little bit, but it is what it is, right? And then what do we do with it? But I think the body positivity movement is just a little bit too extreme because it's a little bit too unrealistic in that sense.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Right. That makes sense. I had a Pilates instructor that at the end of every class, she would sort of give us this mantra where we said, thank you, body, thank you, body, thank you, body.
I love that.
And now I do too. And even though I don't have her necessarily as the instructor, I still think that to myself when I finish up a workout, because I'm grateful to my body to have the mobility and the strength to be able to do what I do. And I think it's important as a reminder, but to have that gratitude, because we take things for granted so often.
Yeah. And I think we partly do because of the fast-paced world that we live in, right? Like we don't really take time to check in with ourselves. We don't take time to be grateful, right? Like that's why I love gratitude journals for people, even if it's just like one thing to identify that you're grateful for from today. But I think we could do that really about ourselves and our body, right? Like let's show our body some love by thanking it, right? Like, wow, my body allowed me to do that workout today. My body allowed me to do X, Y, Z. And the more that we do that, actually what we're doing is we're retraining our brain to focus on the functions as opposed to appearance. So then when we do look in the mirror, maybe we see a body that played with their children today, a body that completed a Pilates class, a body that walked to and from the grocery store carrying groceries up and down the stairs, right? We start seeing the functions as opposed to picking apart and only seeing our appearance. And that really, I think, is a great place that we can all be kind of striving towards. And it's not like we just wake up and like, whoop, I love my body today. Or like, wow, I all of a sudden switched and now I can like appreciate it for this instead of that. It's a journey and it takes work. And I think we can all be on that journey. We are on the journey, but we can all be moving towards a place where we are more accepting, more grateful, more loving. And again, less appearance focused.
Yeah, absolutely. During our fireside chat at the retreat, I shared a story about how I overcame my issues at the beach and the pool. And I'm going to share that story now. I have short legs. I'm only 5'4" wearing shoes, right? So I'm really like 5'3", and I'm pretty much all torso. I have very little legs. I've always been shy about my legs, their shape, their size, whatever. Even probably at my thinnest in life, it's just, I have little legs, long torso, whatever. And going to the beach, I was always very shy because of my thighs. And I would hate to wear bathing suits, like the typical, female bathing suits that we're expected to wear, right? Where there's essentially like your butt sticking out. That's always how I sound. I'm like, I don't know how else to describe it. It's like, your butt's out. Like, and a few years ago, I was at the store and I saw a pair of running shorts. And I saw these running shorts and I thought to myself, they kind of look like bathing suit bottoms. I wonder if I could like repurpose these as bathing suit bottoms. And so I did. So I bought one pair and I wore it to the beach and I was like, this is amazing. This like is a game changer for me. So I started wearing them with bikini tops at first because like that's just what I had at home. But as I've been doing it over the past couple of years, I've been obviously buying more shorts, and then I've been buying sports bras as well. So depending on the day, like sometimes I wear a sports bra with the shorts, sometimes I wear a bikini. It depends. And it has been a game changer for my confidence and how I show up when I go to the beach or the pool or a water park or any of those things. I never feel shy anymore. And sometimes it takes tweaking the system. You know how you said about like tweaking earlier, but it really is like a systemic thing then. I changed my system of how I get changed for the beach. Right. And that made all the difference. And so I often share this story with people because it was such a game changer for me that I want to like impart this information so that people will consider doing something like this, is like changing the system. If you don't like going to the beach and you don't like how you feel in a bathing suit, guess what? Don't wear a bathing suit. Wear something different. Wear something that you do feel comfortable in, that you can still play with your kids or go swimming or catch the sun or whatever it is that you want to do at the beach, or not go to the beach at all. I don't know. That's your prerogative. But sometimes it's literally changing the system of what you're doing that can make the biggest difference.
And I love that example for so many reasons, or not even an example, that story, right? I love it for so many reasons, because you had mentioned that you were able to show up confidently. You were able to show up differently, right? Mm-hmm. And that goes back to this idea of what we wear matters, right? It matters because it impacts how we feel. And if we're wearing clothes that are either too tight or too loose, that's all we're thinking about, right? We can't be present enjoying the moment. Or if we have on, say, a bathing suit and we feel like our butt is hanging out, right? Because they are. I mean, they're getting smaller and smaller, I think. Not
they really are. Have you been to
the butts, though, to clarify.
The fabric covering the butts. Yeah.
Yes. It always amazes me. I think mine's like a very like years old, so it's like a little more coverage. But these days they're not like that. But I think if we're thinking about that, like, oh, this is showing, that's showing, I don't feel good. Again, we're not able to be present. We're not going to feel good in what we're wearing. We're not going to feel good in our bodies. We're not going to feel confident, and we're going to show up differently, right? It's the same as I always say, there's a difference between a person that walks into a room, and nobody can, well, maybe people can see me right now, but maybe not. Walking our room like this, hunched over,
with
right,
your
kind of looking
shoulders
down.
Hunched
exactly.
over. Yeah.
As opposed to like standing up, confidently with our head up high, right? That happens when we feel good in what we are wearing. It's not really about our body. It's about what we're wearing and how we feel in our own skin, in those clothing, right? Mm-hmm. So I love that example that you gave. And I also love the fact that you just changed the system. But in order to change your system, you had to have this thought that was like, I can change the system. Like, who says that I have to wear this bikini that doesn't make me feel good? Because if you did, you probably would be sitting under the umbrella or sitting in the car or sitting somewhere else, maybe with cover-ups on, and not enjoying the time with your family. So who says? I think, this is the key. And a lot of the work that I do is based in cognitive behavioral therapy, which is the relationship between our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And a common thought that we have is, I should do X. I should do Y. I should wear the bikini. Who says we should, right? Because if we don't do it, we feel guilty. And I'm like, okay, but who said you should? There's a difference. Do I want to wear the bikini? Do I want to wear the running shorts? I choose to wear the running shorts. I choose to go to the gym. It is completely up to us. But if we can shift the way we think about this, if we can shift the words we're saying to ourselves, it's going to make a difference. Because I bet you don't say I should wear a bathing suit. You probably say, I'm going to wear my running shorts because they make me feel great. Mm-hmm. Such a different feeling that follows that statement.
Yeah.
If we say I should wear a bathing suit and I put on shorts, I'm going to feel like I'm covering myself up and I'm going to feel guilty. As opposed to, I changed the system. I changed my system. I'm choosing to do this. So I love your example. And I'm even thinking like, maybe I'm going to put your example and quote you in my book on this chapter, because I love it so much that you had the thought and you just tweaked it. Done. What a difference.
And then that was it. And I could still wear a bikini top, and I have full coverage on the bottom. And it really was such a game changer on how I showed up on vacation and all of those things. Yeah. I never think about it again. And it wasn't even, what's the word I'm looking for here to say?
It sounds like it wasn't like a conscious effort.
No, it was,
you went to
but
the store and saw them.
I went to the store and I saw them, and then the light bulb went off and I was like, that's it. But what I was going to say here about the body thing too is it's not just the modesty of covering my butt. It's also like hair, right? Like thigh hair. Like I don't have to worry about having razor burn. Like this sounds silly, but it's important.
It's so
razor burn I've always been very shy and embarrassed about razor burn around, the crotch area of a bathing suit. That doesn't happen anymore with running shorts because you're not showing your crotch in the running shorts. And so I'm not only worried about, like I said, the modesty of covering my butt, but also I don't worry about the razor burn anymore. Yeah. And it's just like little things like that. And I don't think I've ever spoken about razor burn on a podcast ever, but
I love this
right here today. But that was it. So it was the front and the back. And that's what I loved so much about the running shorts is that I just felt confident in all areas there.
Yeah. And something else I want to say about this too, and it's really huge kudos to you, really. What I want to say is that our body also changes as life changes, right? We all go through different stages of our life, and women in particular, right? We have puberty, we have adolescence, we have maybe for some pregnancy, maybe post-pregnancy, maybe perimenopause, menopause, all these things. And the thing is that we can't expect the same thing to work that worked, say, during puberty today for you and I, right? And so I love, kind of to relate it to that, I love the fact that you were just kind of like, this isn't working for me anymore. And I'm going to change it. Because I think that's where a lot of women get stuck, is this idea that what worked for me before there's that should word again, should be working for me today. And I like to take a moment and be like, okay, but again, who says it should be? You are in a different stage of your life. You are perhaps in a different body, right? I mean, after pregnancy and all these things, our bodies change. And forget about pregnancy for a minute, but just aging, right? Our bodies change. So I love the fact that you weren't like, well, I used to wear a bikini, so why can't I now? Because you can if you want to. It's totally up to you.
Oh, yeah. No, I totally can.
Right. Of course,
was just
you can. But you're like, I feel better in this. So this is what I'm going to do to be able to be more present with my family and children and be more present for me. And that's the point that I want to make, that as life happens, we have to make adjustments because we're not living the life that we were living back then, not only because we've changed, but because the world has changed. So yes, you can wear whatever you want to wear, but you are choosing to wear something that makes you feel better and makes you feel more confident in order to show up to be your best self. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I have always worn bikinis, always worn bathing suits, and I always, my whole life, felt super self-conscious about razor burn and all of that kind of stuff and hair and all of that kind of stuff.
Done, it's not worth it anymore.
And it's not worth it. So I think there's a certain wisdom that comes with age where going back to your point before is saying like, I'm not worried about the should-haves and could-haves and would-haves. It's like, my whole life, it's like, oh, I should wear the bikini because that's what you're supposed to do. And like, why? So I could be self-conscious about my hair on my legs or, you know, something like that, or having like razor burn because like sometimes it doesn't like get as cleanly, or if you get a wax, it's not like totally clean, whatever it is, right?
It's just not worth it.
It's not worth it.
Right.
And so I think it just took until I got to a certain age where I was like, I'm not going to be worried about this anymore.
Yeah. I completely agree. And I love it. And like I said before, you know, I can relate on so many levels. I remember after I had my son, so my first, instead of wearing like the bikini tops, and I think I shared this with you on that day too, I found a sports bra that I just loved. And to me, it looked like a bathing suit. I kind of was like, I don't think it has enough support for like jumping and running, but it's a really cute bathing suit. And it actually became my go-to when I know I'm going to be like running around the pool. Like I just wear the sports bra looking bathing suit tops now for that exact reason. And just because my life has changed, I'm not sitting and tanning. I'm running around kids jumping in the pool and chasing them. And I don't like you and your butt. I don't want my boobs hanging out, you know?
Right,
so
exactly.
Very similar. So we have to adjust in order to be able to be present. Because if not, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm hanging out, I'm showing out, let me push that back in type of thing.
Yes.
But no, I just don't have to worry about it. Just run, have fun, be present, and be at the pool or the beach for the reason that you're there. And again, at a younger age, maybe we were there for different reasons, but now we're there for the reasons that we are, and we have to adjust and tweak our life, maybe what we wear, maybe how we feel about ourselves in order to kind of accommodate that new life that we have. And that's okay.
I love it. I love it. Dr. Rachel, you are so incredible. Tell everyone, where can we find you?
You are so sweet. Thank you. So on social media, I'm Dr. Rachel NYC, and my website is drnyc.com to just make it easy. So that's probably the best way to find me. I always like to remind people, podcasts, social media, etc., is not therapy. But I love to hear from people. So if you have a question, I'm happy to always point in the right direction in terms of resources, recommendations, or referrals. But it's just kind of general advice and not therapy, of course.
I love that so much. Thank you so much for being here today.
Of course. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Modern Mom Probs. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive in today's problem with me, your host, Tara Clark. Join me next time when I'll be interviewing another great guest and tackling another modern mom problem. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review and a rating. As always, you could head over to Modern Mom Probs on Instagram and give me a follow, or check out my book, Modern Mom Probs, A Survival Guide for 21st Century Mothers, available online wherever books are sold. Well, that's it for today. See you next time, folks.